Back on Inside Tennessee, talking redistricting, the successes and pitfalls of the process, which is underway right now. And the public is really available and expected to give some input on this. Again, it determines who you vote for, and also in many cases where your children go to school. So again, this is some of what lawmakers at the local level as well as the state level and the national level are going to use. And these are the census numbers showing the percentage change in the population in the last 10 years. That's the focus of our conversation. John?
So, Katie, you're a lot smarter than I am about this. We have a supermajority in the state of Tennessee. Obviously, one party is really kind of controlling all the levers. I think maybe there's some kind of a committee that's going to be sort of looking at how to do this. Can you explain a little bit about what this means, and is there balance in how that's going to work?
That's right. So the State House has convened a committee. Its members have just now met. They met last week, and they're having discussions about how these maps will look at the state level. And they've actually for their House districts, the state House districts, and they have invited the public to weigh in on that conversation. The public actually have until noon on November 12th to provide maps, their suggested maps for what those districts might look like. And the critique has been that it's difficult for members of the public to provide an entire statewide map. And the committee has responded that if the public are interested in just a particular area, they can provide that information with, and then have the existing, basically the rest of the map left alone. But they do have to provide an entire statewide map if they want to provide one. But an opportunity for nations to get together and think about what they could do to provide input on this process.
So, those of you at home, you just heard what she said. Get busy with your pencil and your eraser and put your maps together. I actually heard, I think that Davidson County, I think this is correct, they've got some like computer software that's accessible where if you can construct your own map if you want and submit it that way. I'm going to display my ignorance. I don't know if we have that here in East Tennessee in any of the counties, but I think Davidson County does.
That's right. There are lots of tools available online for people who want, for those geographers or demographers, the amateur demographers that want to get into this and to make their own maps to consider. Just so that your viewers know, so those House districts need to have about 69,000 people in them. If they decide to delve into the state Senate, those districts need to have about 200,000, and congressional districts about 760,000 people per area. And again, just a reminder that those should be relatively compact and contiguous as possible and respect existing political boundaries as well as existing neighborhoods and other considerations. But I think that people should go for it. In addition, the Boyd Center for Business and Economic Research has the Tennessee State Data Science Center that is putting out information from the census. So that's also a tremendous place to go for information and to take a look at the data.
One other place I would recommend is knoxcountydistricts.org. knoxcountydistricts.org. That will give you a sense, if you live in Knox County, of the process. It shows you the meeting schedule and the goals behind it. Dr. Cahill, we talked about it earlier, but there's a pejorative in this process called gerrymandering. And what is the public's ability to stop that from happening?
That's a great question. So gerrymandering refers to the drawing of political boundaries for the purpose of creating or creating non-competitive political districts or diminishing political competition. And so I think that one way that the public can help elected officials ensure that the districts remain representative is to provide public comment, to go to these meetings if they're capable and able to provide their own mapping, but definitely get a hold of your elected representatives and let them know about your concerns for your neighborhood and your community. And I think that that's the best way to avoid that process, and also to just be paying attention to what the maps look like in Tennessee. So there's a few strategies that are utilized during gerrymandering. One is cracking, and that is when areas are divided in order to diminish the competitiveness of a political party. So basically, instead, if you have a 50-50 area, so 50% one party, 50% the other party, you basically draw lines around the other party so that they're broken up, they're cracked into multiple districts. Another thing to do is packing, where you basically create a district that is just one party, that diminishes political competition in that area. And so those are two strategies that are most frequently viewed. And so just to keep an eye on any concerns that the public might have that that's occurring, I think, and communicating those concerns is a great way.
We've got to take another quick break on Inside Tennessee. Back with our closing thoughts on redistricting and Dr. Katie Cahill right after this.